we are going to bring up Shane. Shane Snipes is a professor at 3 universities, FIT, Fordham, and BCMM? BM, okay. On entrepreneurship and innovation. He's an entrepreneur, and he also was the CTO of the Environmental Defense Fund. So please welcome Shane.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Hi, everyone. How are you? Good. So, you can go ahead and go ahead to my first slide. All right. So 7 days from now, you are going to... Just kidding. You'll be transformed 7 days from now. That's what's going to happen to you. The great thing about circles in our life and rings in our life is they represent an ongoing transformation, an ongoing interaction. And in my life, they've been all kinds of circles. And this is not an ideal circle, right? You meet someone, you start talking, you start liking them, you find out they ain't shit, you stop talking, and then you repeat. So that's a pretty common dating cycle in the universe, right? And that's not ideal. So what we want to look for, what we want to talk about is what is ideal. This is another one. You see a chest picture, you say what's up, you send the XXX, you say now, they say yes or no, and you continue. Round and round and round. And there's something similar that happens to, straight people too. So there's a real sense in the universe that cycles are a bad thing. And I'm a big believer that circles and interactions provide us opportunities for innovation, which is the first letter of my ideal acronym. So innovation, even if you're in a box, there's opportunities to evolve and innovate and create new things. And I truly believe whenever you're talking about any kind of innovation, you have to have a structure to do it. As an innovation and entrepreneurship professor and someone who's set up innovation labs for years, design thinking is a big deal. So the D stands for design thinking. And you'll notice here in this circle, right, we're on this thing going around on this ride. And so my first ride here is actually the part of create a clear need, research it, prioritize it. What are the concepts? And come up with brainstorming. How do you hypothesize what you're going to do? And then go into that cool experimentation phase. Because if you apply this, you realize that entrepreneurship is nothing but a group of people getting together, talking in a circle, getting to know what they really need to accomplish. And if you take a moment to really do that with these times that we have, with these interactions that we have, we create beautiful, transformational, somewhat confusing things, right? It's an optical illusion, but it's not. It's real. Like this exists in the world. And so you can create these most fantastic, incredible inventions. When you come to the second phase of it, A stands for agile, which is a really nice methodology about building something, exploring it, getting feedback, creating something, and then changing it. Everyone knows about Pivot, right? How many of you guys have read the book, Pivot? All right, so Pivot is all about taking the time to analyze and explore exactly what you want to do. Time, space. We're back to that circle. I am a huge believer that these circles, that these interactions that we have every day are part of what makes us, combining these things, a chance to grow. So as we explore opportunities around this, when I teach this class, one of the things we talk about is the interaction between these two pieces now. Because now all of a sudden we have something that can truly be interacted. And you guys know Lean Startup? Raise your hand. Okay, so this is Lean Startup, right? You've got an interaction of Lean Startup, but you don't have necessarily the innovation and the entrepreneurship component laid out. And that's the part, that's where my research is. My research is in truly figuring out what that context is. And in the end, we end up with something delicious, like cheese. Another wonderful circle. It took time to make it, right? And in that time, things matured, things evolved. And part of that, then takes us to the last part, which is getting the word out. How do you tell people about your idea? How do you get people to understand what you have? You target your customers. You look for what are growth channels. This is called growth hacking, by the way, and it adds on to the lean methodology by allowing us to offer a product and then come back to it. So the L then is, in fact, that lean component. And whenever you look into these things, I'm a huge reader. I think that impact, like this crater, another circle, has a chance for us to change what we're doing. Now, you don't have to be a scholar. You don't have to look at this. And this is what this might look like for you, right? This is your memory of this component. This is what it actually is in your brain right now. Most of you guys didn't remember any of this. But you remembered ideal, right? And so we took this and we said, why don't we clear it up, make it succinct, put it into a position like this where you can truly see coming up with a need, working on that need, working through the process of exploration around new ideas, building something, build something, do something. And then get out there and start talking about it. Talk about it. Use that methodology. Because I'm a big believer, there isn't an ideal perfection, but you can use the concept of coming up with something that's ideal for you. That's why when you hear these amazing talks that we've heard so far, if you step into the reality that you're right now spinning around on a giant universe, enjoying other delicious circles, because all circles can actually have beautiful outcomes that taste great. And when you do look at those moments, when you recognize that I love donuts, right? And with that donut moment, you have this chance then to integrate with what we have. A slide went missing, right? It's all right. No worries. The donut was delicious. What a great ending. I couldn't have ended better.
Okay, so we'll open it up for a few questions for Shane.
How many entrepreneurs do we have in the room? Right, keep your hand up
wow.
if you're currently working on a
Awesome.
startup.
So you understand the concept then of a lean startup.
I'm ready for my examination of you. So that's innovation, guys. That's choosing to do something differently with something that's already here. And it really is that simple.
So let's go. Anybody have a question for Shane? Entrepreneur, innovation question for those entrepreneurs? Yes.
What's your class at FIT?
So at FIT, I teach a design thinking class, and it's an MBA program that I'm launching, actually. I created the course. I was so happy that they actually said, oh my God, you want to teach this? Really? And I combined two different things. So a lot of people are teaching design thinking by itself, and it's a very different process than the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Is there a way you can access your class and not be a part of FIT, or?
Great question. Yeah, one of the things I'm working on all this summer, actually, I turned my office into like a co-work space, but it's also a little mini studio. And so I'm actually creating a little mini studio so that I can do more interaction with people. I've worked a lot in the technology field, so I understand it. And I got really burned with a couple of media projects that I started. And I keep trying, right? You keep working at it. And the great thing about not succeeding, about failing like I've tried before, is I realize there's an opportunity to start again. There's an opportunity to reinvent what you did. And guys, when you do something and it doesn't work, it's just the timing was wrong. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? If you're truly passionate about it, and it's something that's right up your alley, it's just a matter that the timing was wrong. And you can't change that. There's no way to change it other than to wait or to keep working on it.
I want to actually speak to that because I actually laughed at this slide, the pain point, resolve, and grow. I feel like, we've started Spire, and this type of organization or this idea doesn't exist. And so for 2.5 years, we've been like, pain point, trying to explain to people what we're trying to do here. And so I'm laughing at it because I feel like we're like constantly going like pain point resolve. Okay, cool, this event's resolve. And I know tomorrow morning we're gonna be like pain point back again. And then we're gonna go back to resolve and grow. So I think it's, and I went to a start out event this week that really touched out on that, which was if you are an entrepreneur and you're working on something, to just keep going with it. And I like the question about, can we work with him? One of the things we want to do with all of these thought leaders is actually take their information, their education, and their ability to apply it for you and make that available for you. So I liked hearing that you're actually interested in that, because that means that that pain point is actually about to grow.
And after, a little bit later, we're going to have an opportunity for people to connect directly with Shane. So I just have to say that this really resonated with us from an entrepreneur perspective with Spire, and I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20. Talanya, we're both lifelong entrepreneurs, and so I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship, and although it's a very tough road at many times, when you fail and you have to pick back up and continue going, like you can really create some beautiful things, and so it's wonderful. Any other questions before we move on to the next? Okay. So, Talanya, thank you, Shane.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you so
appreciate
much. And guys, by the way, one of the things I do love about being involved with startups and entrepreneurs is that since I've gone through the process of working with a lot of super successful companies like HP and Microsoft and Google and a bunch of those other places, establishing innovation labs, I know what it is to actually create those spaces. So entrepreneurship happens in that moment. Like, it happens in that creation process, and that's what's so beautiful about Spire, is they're creating that space to actually make that happen.